Yo, what's good people? So it's Alliance War number 8 of the season, and we're up against Jedi Assassins, who we know are one of the higher ranking Alliance War alliances, and yeah, we're in for a tough one essentially. We're going to need to keep deaths really low to stand any chance of winning. And yeah, I have got 5 fights this war, and it's off to a really difficult start for me because my team for the war first of all is going to be Knull, Surfer, and Shang Chi. Shang Chi I've used a lot, very comfortable with. Silver Surfer and Knull, not so comfortable with, due to just less experience using them. And these first 3 fights I'm going to be taking are with them, with one of these fights being No 22, which is one of the 2 shared fights between tiers 1 and 2, and therefore meant I needed to get these fights down before bed to clear people and stop, all the Americans waiting for me overnight. However, run into another issue because obviously I forgot that we had Alliance War attack phase coming up, and I had already got plans to go watch Black Panther 2, which, side note, great film, loved it. Yeah, won't say too much just because maybe people haven't seen it. And this isn't a review video, this is a war video, so yeah, just a side note that I enjoyed it. And it was a lovely tribute to Chadwick Boseman. But getting back to Alliance War, of course, that meant I knew I was in a rush to get out for that. By the time plans came out, there was a very tight window, and I knew I'd need to do some duels, so I wasn't going to be able to take them before. But enjoyed the movie, came back, and it was about probably 1:30, 2 a.m. I think by the time I started doing this, or about 2 a.m. by the time I started doing these fights, after doing some duels and kind of thinking through the strat. And yeah, it's going to be a tough one. So let's get into talking through the fights, eh? So first up, we have King Groot on path 1A. He has got Reinvigorated Fury, which basically means every time he gains a regen buff or passive, if he doesn't have a heal block active on him, then he'll gain one of these dormant vigor charges, and essentially when he hits 10 of these, which are the grey ones, he then turns that into a passive Fury, which gives him 100% attack rating, obviously makes him hit a lot harder. He's also got personal space regen, which means when we're close to him, he's going to be gaining those regen buffs, as you can see there, and I have to get away from him to allow those to fall off. He's also got Indomitable, which means I cannot reverse his healing or prevent it. It can only just be essentially stopped. But yeah, as you can see, this is a tough fight. So what makes Knull a good counter here? Well, first of all, in his standard cycle, you get corruption up using the special one. You can get decent damage in, so he's a good option here in terms of getting this fight down, in terms of just natural damage output. But he's also got the fact that he's a sick and tired attacker, which means with 3 or more debuffs, I can apply a heal block to this King Groot and help prevent those regens from both the node and his own regen, plus all the regen coming from being a conduit defender, so obviously knocking him down is giving him those debuffs. And yeah, I mean, as you will notice so far through this fight, it's no easy fight, it's a very annoying one. King Groot, whenever he goes into his Fury phase, he's shredding debuffs, and that makes it quite hard to manage, I found, to just really keep this heal block up all fight, and then that means there's phases where he's healing up, and this is a rank 4 King Groot, of course, massive health pool, the regens really do drag this one out, and I won't lie, there's many points in this fight from kind of this point onwards where I thought there's a chance here that I may not, finish this fight in time. I might time out or also get KO'd. As you can see, he's got more health than me, and we're now over halfway into the fight in terms of the timer, so it's worrying stuff at this point. You can see there as well, the conduit debuffs on him is difficult to manage, but now we've got 3 or plus debuffs, which he's about to start shrugging debuffs off again. We're going to have to take this specialty into the block. Again, this is more damage taken, and yeah, it's a tense one, but it's one we're confident. Just try and get out of this Fury phase where he's shrugging debuffs, which we do. I think perhaps I should have actually thrown the special one earlier in his Fury phase, because while he would have shrugged off those Living Abyss debuffs, it just does mean that when you see here, we're going to get to the corruption phase and they get converted to armor breaks, his Furies have actually shrugged those off, and ideally I would have wanted to try and line that up better so that that switch was coming during his regen phase, so the armor breaks would stick basically. something I guess to potentially improve for this fight. But we get it down. We get it down with about a minute and a half to spare. And yeah, we did make a fair few sloppy mistakes there that lost us more health than we probably should have. We knew it was going to be a slow fight, but as we say, solo is a solo at the end of the day. It's going to cost us some health potions, but it's not costing us attack bonuses, and that's the main thing here. Right, so second fight of the war, we've got Guardian up here, also on path 1A. So he has the same reinvigorated Fury node here. So same thing with the dormant Vigor charges building up, and if he gets 10 of those from all the regens, he gains throughout the fight while not heal blocked. Then yeah, he gets that passive Fury. Another thing node he has is the Indomitable node, same as the last fight again. Cannot reverse his healing, and the one node that's different this time is he has Masochism over time. So that means every 7 seconds he's going to be able to shrug off a debuff, including from the start here. So it just means I've got to be conscious of the fact that if I don't trigger that Masochism with the Living Abyss debuffs, then my parries I'm going to stun. So just something to watch out for. But we're going to see here, this is going to be a much smoother fight than King Groot, who just is a really annoying champ to face, isn't he? But yeah, you'll see here as well, we've gone for a power start 1 boost, which is stuck from the last fight. It's just, the idea with those was just to try and get this corruption going earlier. So we can see here, we throw our special 1, trigger that timer now. And the aim is once we get to that, just obviously be building back up. You see as well, Knull, part of his power is obviously when the opponent's corrupted, he gets, I think, increased power rate, and that does help to build back up. And we get to our special 2 here, with this one pretty much under control. Just throw it here, probably a bit too soon. Should have baited the special 1 first, but we knocked him over 2 bars. We just block this and get back to going to town, really, just finish this one off. We know here as well that, you know, we're not using Knull again for the rest of the war, so just happy to block that special 2, and we get a nice clean finish in the end. Much smoother fight than the last. And yeah, so now we can move to our third fight, which is Killmonger. And yeah, again, this is like probably 2:30 in the morning at this point for me now. Third fight, and we're actually going to get 4 fights in before I go to bed. It was originally just going to be these 3, but with the people moving shortly afterwards, I was still awake and my boost's still active, so I end up managing to get the next fight as well. So yeah, pretty busy end to my evening that day. Here we go. We got Surfer up against Killmonger. He's got Aggression Prowess, he's got Hazard Shift, Incinerate Shock. Those Incinerating Shocks, obviously Surfer takes 100% less damage to, and what they actually do is act as unique buffs for him, so they power him up even further, which is brilliant. So the idea here is really just keep those armor breaks up by whenever I get my cosmic, true power cosmic buff back, I can basically reactivate these armor breaks and get a new buff. The rotation I kind of usually go for with Surfer is just kind of get the power gain 1 up first, and then with the heavy, and then try and use a special 1 to get the 2 Furies. Then after that, maybe trigger like the armor is the best thing to do, I guess, to try and keep all the buffs up. As you can see here, we've already started letting some of them expire. It's not to worry really. The main thing is actually just keeping these armor breaks up against the Surfer, and I guess wherever possible, trying to re-trigger these Furies. So you see here, get the power gain back, and because it's a unique buff, it means the Furies also get refreshed. Really smooth, and yeah, this fight not an issue at all for Surfer. One note I actually forgot to mention there is also, I think, Insult to Injury was there, so every debuff on me was reducing my ability accuracy, my defensive ability accuracy by 30%, so yeah, worth noting as well, I had to be cautious of some parries potentially failing. But moving quicker now, isn't it? The last 2 fights were very quick after that first long one, so just got to keep rolling with these. My 4th fight-ish is going to be a Spiderham with Shang Chi on path 4B. I've taken this a few times this season. Mentioned before, a really nice kind of new strat I've been doing with this fight ever since I messed it up once, which just makes it a lot safer. So we're going to keep slow and cleanse Wushus on cycle depending on what we need. So I've started with slow and then cleanse, but this order is not strict. just kind of go off what you need in the fight, and I'll explain as we go here. So he throws his special 1, so that means I'm going to respond with cleanse because I want to get debuffs off me, and I don't want his debuff triggering on me and making him unblockable. Then we put the slow back on. We also know we need to throw our bar of power as soon as possible. You can see his spider sense has already gone up to, sorry, his nonsense has gone up to 6 already, just because we took so long to get rid of that initial special 1. But yeah, it's all good as long as we keep the slow up and the cleanse up, we should be fine. You see at this point as well, fight moving on perfectly fine here. You know, a bit of dancing around trying to get those special 1s out, but we're okay. Get our parry, heavy reset, going again with cleanse wushu, the slow wushu up, and now again just trying to bait that special 1 off him. I'm trying to throw my special 1 here. Really important as well to have the cleanse up when you throw a special 1. Have cleanse charged up just in case one of these power stings that you see, like the one on me now, appear. But yeah, like I say, I'd say now, maybe not very straightforward. There's still, like, you know, it's Spiderham. He's just one of those weird champs that can cause you issues and stuff can go wrong, but a pretty straightforward fight now with Shang Chi, and we get a nice clean finish with 4 solos going into our 5th and final fight of the war. So this one is a kingpin, 4B as well. He's got crumbling armor, there's a heal block on you, he's got steady build up, unblockable. So what's the threat here? Well, he's going to have the heal block on you at all times. If he's being a bit passive and you're not hitting into him, crumbling armor will get another debuff on you, but you're not going to get the 3rd debuff on you unless I think you eat a special 1, which is where he can start putting those degens or whatever it is on you. But yeah, realistically, you just don't eat a special 1. You're not going to have to deal with him being unblockable. It's just Kingpin being, you know, the general annoying champ that he is. Big health pool as well at rank 4. But here you can see the strategy, because obviously we can't rely on parry stuns. Is not this. This is not part of strategy. This was, I don't know, maybe the duels were just too smooth and I had to give him an advantage. That's the joke I gave to DLL. But other than this, we're going to see it go perfectly to plan. So we're going to cycle the cleanse and unblockable wushus. We're also going to get passive unblockables from using my cleanse here. We're going to use his special 1s as opportunities to heavy counter and reset my wushus. We also did practice to heavy counter as heavy, but you're going to see in this fight we're regularly knocking him over 1 bar of power, so we're not going to need to do that. Special 1 here as well. The spacing, pretty easy to get. But yeah, we get into this bit here, and now as well I just see he's low on health. Go for the stun wushu, sticks as well. Didn't really need it to because I was unblockable, so I was just going to throw my special 2 right onto the end of it anyway, and know that it'll finish him off. So 5 fights, 5 solos, very happy on my half. But unfortunately it is a loss overall. 12 deaths was never really going to cut it against Jedi Alliance. So yeah, we've got room for improvement, but we are still now, 5-3 for the season after 8 wars. We are, I think, ranked 12th in Masters, so still in a strong position to finish the season in Masters. Just got to keep those improvements coming, keep performances up, and yeah, again, from my point of view, looking at my season stats now as a whole, that's 7 out of 8 wars, Deathless, that 1 horrid war. But no, overall, I'm feeling much, much more positive. Going 7 out of 8 wars, Deathless is like unheard of for me at this level. So yeah, huge improvement on my part. I guess really motivated after that horror war, but no. At the end of the day, the main goal is the Alliance. We want to get Masters as well, so that's going to be the focus. But yeah, that will be all for this video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one, which may or may not involve Cyber Weekend deals. So we'll see.